In this episode of A Mobilehome Makeover, there's a lot of harvesting of plums. So I make prunes and some plum hooch, and also expand a stone pathway. Back to the mobile home, and the sunflowers are leaning over, but not quite ready to harvest. I think there's these cantaloupes. I'll keep that in there, but I was happy to see us. After 3 weeks, the lawn is giving some inkling of what it might be like to be planted up in that Dutch wave style of integrating natives into a landscape. Here is the champion zucchini. I'm being ironic, of course. You don't want your zucchini to get that big. It doesn't taste very good. But my friend Damon at the Fromage Jeets, where we stayed in Brittany, France, has given me a recipe. That's the size of the thing right there. Bill, looks like we got another round of volunteer onions coming in, and even some lettuces maybe that are not gonna make it because frost is coming in. You wanted to be on film. You do? Yeah, you want to be on film, huh? You want to be a YouTube star? What do you think, Bill? It's starting to happen. Harvesting plums to make prunes. I'm getting out the pits and getting ready to roast them for 8 hours at 200 degrees. Still got some cucumbers hiding in here. These sunflowers, I think, have a little ways to go. There's no lettuce in Greek salad. Now back to the plums. Apparently these will last a little while in the fridge. With these smaller plums, I'm looking to make some kind of plum hooch. All these plums are just falling off, drying right out on the vine or on the tree. Next year, maybe I'll be able to make a bigger batch of plum hooch. Rain. It just rained for 3 days and leaves decided to change color and start falling down. So I looked online and I found some home brewing kits for about $50. I also watched some YouTube recipes for making hooch, and I think I'm going to do a hybrid and make a plum cider. I know it's not a real thing, but I'm going to make it starting by sterilizing this pot, which for me means But in this instance, simply boiling some hot water in there. I've watched a bunch of recipes about this, and I'm gonna kind of make up my own based on what I've seen. So what I've done is I've boiled some water in this to clean and make sure to disinfect it. And I'm just gonna take the lid off here, and I'm gonna empty these 2 bowls of plums into there. They say to sterilize whatever it is you're gonna work with, so I'm just gonna go ahead and boil this for a second. Potato masher's got the cup measure pinned down, face down in the water. Now I'm going to mash these up with stems and all. This is looking pretty juicy now. 3 bottles that I want to fill. And this is sugar. I think we could probably just go with the sugar that's in the plums, but I'm going to maybe guarantee things a little bit more with a cup of this. Now, this is, I think, boiling hot water largely to help dissolve this sugar. Maybe to do something with, I don't know, pasteurizing the plums somehow. I didn't sterilize any other stirring implements, so I'm just going to stir it up with water, sugar, and plums in there. And now I'm just going to cover it over. And with it covered, I'm going to just let it sit there covered for 3 days. My neighbor to try this dessert, cantaloupe with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. The hardware store is getting ready to reopen across the street in their nursery space in a bunch of containers. Meanwhile, clean up. And I'm using peer pressure to get Ricky to eat. It's been 3 days, and now I'm back to the cider hooch. I don't know what to call this making process, wine making process. I got one of these burpee things. I cut it down to the size that it'll fit on this jar with this lid. I'm gonna do a batch in that, and then I have these bottles over here. I'm gonna do a batch or maybe 2 batches in one of these bottles. Those might make cider because they're capped, or they might explode, or I might need to off gas them. I've got the fermenting stuff here. Basically, at this point, I'm separating the solids from the liquid, and I'm going to put the liquid into a new jar. That's the basic gist of it. This definitely smells like alcohol. Whether it's ethanol or methanol, I don't know. Apparently, methanol is an issue, and the kits that you can buy have special, chemicals or something to get rid of the methanol. If you drink too much of it, can make you go blind. And hopefully, I don't have any methanol in here, but if I do, hopefully it's in quantities enough not to matter. I still got a little. In the interest of home science, I have saved a little bit of this juice, 3-day fermenting juice. I'm gonna see how it tastes. Now, this is fermenting off room yeast, so we don't really know. It's environmental yeast. We don't know specifically when it went into it. My understanding is this could be vinegar, not wine, or maybe the next fermentation could be vinegar, not wine. I'm not sure, but let's see how this tastes. Three days, it's totally drinkable. It's sweet, it's juicy. Doesn't taste too alcohol-y yet. I can smell a little bit of alcohol in the nose, but I've been trying to identify the nose of this wine, hooch, whatever it's called. It has me slightly nervous because the thing that it closest reminds me to is paint. That would be awesome to be able to test it to see how much alcohol was in here. I don't think very much, but but I think maybe a little bit. Well, here I just read that you only get methanol if you're distilling the spirits, so I think I'm safe. And they say the worst thing that could happen is it'll taste bad. It already tastes bad, so I'm winning. I'm reading online that the paint taste might have to do with vinegar bacteria or some other contaminant getting in there, and that there's nothing I can do about it. We've got a few warm days coming up, maybe the last warm days of the year, and it's time to do some outdoor projects like expanding this walkway here and harvesting those sunflowers, widening it up. Dogs, dogs have definitely figured out the screen door. Stones, coal, sand. Floss, sit. Okay, it's true. I'm making a fairy dance. Hung up some of the sunflowers to dry. 9 days. I'm gonna take these two. Let's see, there's a lot of sediment that settled out there. I'm gonna take those two and put them in the fridge, which I think will stop fermentation. Turn them into cider. That one I'm just gonna put in a cabinet somewhere. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and I'm gonna try this plum hooch just for the sake of science. See what happens when we open this. I want to position it close to the sink in case I need to pour. Oh, oh Jesus! Oh Jesus! Well, it carbonated. Oh, that was too funny. I think some burping apparently is necessary in this process. I really had a lot of foam coming out of there. I wound up pouring like half of it down the sink because I was just trying to deal with what was coming out of this thing. I guess I'm gonna need to wrap that next one in a towel or something. That was crazy. Anyway, let's see what happens when I open this again. Okay, that was a little more reasonable. A nice fizz to it. I haven't tried this yet. I wanted to get my honest first take. It still has that paint nose. It's kind of bubbly. I think you can technically only make cider out of apples. So this is something else, but it's actually kind of sparkly and yummy. A little sweet, but pretty sparkly and yummy. I'll report back on whether it gets me drunk. I would say it does have a little bit of a something to it, a little bit of a kick. Nothing too crazy alcohol. That paint smell. Still a little sweet. Maybe it could have fermented another day or two and gotten rid of a little bit more sugar. But it's not sweet. It's definitely moved into cider territory. I wouldn't want to have drink a lot of this. These shots. Minutes away from an eclipse. The hooch experiment didn't go too badly. The paint nose is not the best, but otherwise it's got a decent taste. Deb even finished a tiny glass of it. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you next time for, I don't know, maybe the beginning of winter.